It's August 2000. In the city of Wollongong, near Sydney, Australia. 20-year-old Belinda Van Krevel and her 2-year-old daughter are leaving the scene of a crime. Inside the house, Belinda's father, Jack, lies dead, brutally beaten and stabbed. Belinda is on her way to report his murder to police. What they don't know is the killer is a friend of hers. And a few days before, she had told him she wanted her father dead.
All I know is he has to die.
This wasn't the first time that murder had been a part of Belinda's life. Her brother is a convicted serial killer. How did she end up surrounded by violent deaths? Did she really want her father killed, and why? Now, Belinda is ready to tell her story in public for the first time ever. I'm Candice DeLong. As an FBI agent, I worked on the front line for the world's most powerful law enforcement agency. I went undercover, I trailed terrorists, and I interviewed notorious killers. It's my job to understand the people who others cannot comprehend. Belinda Van Krevel was born into a life of violence. Her mother abandoned her when she was 2, leaving Belinda and her older brother Mark with their father, Jack. Both children say Jack violently abused them physically and sexually. Abuse that had terrifying repercussions. At 18, Belinda's brother Mark committed 2 horrific murders. A neighborhood shopkeeper violently beaten and beheaded, and a former city mayor and alleged pedophile savagely butchered. The killings shocked Australia. Mark was sentenced to life in prison, his file marked never to be released. Belinda Van Krevel blamed it all on her father, Jack.
He drove him to do what he did. He's the one that should be in jail, not my brother.
2 weeks later, Jack was dead, murdered by Mark's best friend, Keith Schreiber. Police said Belinda asked him to do it. In 2003, she was sentenced to 6 years in prison for soliciting her father's murder. Today, she is free, living in Sydney. Just the thought of the evil Belinda had to face in her life, frankly, stuns me. But I can't help wondering, is she dangerous? Could she still follow in her brother's deadly footsteps? And just what drove 2 children to dream of a perfect world without their father?
So let's go way back. Tell me about what things were like for you as a little girl. What kind of dreams did you have as a little girl?
No dreams.
No dreams at all? About what you wanted your future to be like? The type of
No.
house you wanted to live in? The type of prince you wanted to carry you away? Nothing?
No.
Why do you think that is?
I didn't have those feelings inside me. All I had was fear.
Fear of what?
My father. Whether he was going to kill me, waiting for him to get home. Well, just everything was fear. I lived on eggshells. I got beaten. He beat my brother to the extent of where he was hospitalised.
From being hit?
From being hit, yes. Every morning his pillow was saturated in blood. He had lost so much blood every day. I copped it too.
but he copped it a lot worse. It was an everyday thing. I become immune to it eventually. I mean, he did it to me every day. At first, I felt the pain.
Like a slap or a
Oh, no,
punch?
not a slap. I mean, punches, kicks. Well, punches until I hit the ground, and then it was kicks until I lost control of my bowels. And then he would leave the room with a smile on his face and be content with what he'd caused. We tried getting away from our father many a time. Our father would always deliberately find us, and he'd always ask us to come back home, and he'd play nice, and he'd say nothing bad will ever happen again, I'm sorry, and we'd go back there, and the same thing would happen.
At his son Mark's murder trial, Jack Van Krevel admitted that he was extremely violent with his children. But he denied his son's other claim, that he went beyond beatings to sexual abuse.
Let's talk about your father violating your brother. A horrible thing.
Yep.
How old was he when this started, to your knowledge?
7.
And how is it that you are so sure about that? Did you witness something?
My father always went into my brother's room of a night and closed the door and stayed in there for hours and never come out.
We'll never know for sure what went on behind that closed door. But Mark grew up to be a very unusual boy, to say the least. Fascinated by serial killers and violence.
At what point in Mark's youth did you notice that Mark had some psychological issues going on?
When he walked into my bedroom and woke me up and said to me, I think I'm possessed. And I'm scared. I'm sorry.
It's all right. Where would a boy hear the word possession or think of it?
From our father.
From your father?
The way he was. No, it's just so even to look at him, you could see that he was scary. He was, but he was like, I don't know, he wasn't right.
Your dad. Very scary guy.
Oh, yeah. Very scary.
Growing up, Belinda was torn by two powerful forces: love for the brother who protected her, and hate for the father who assaulted them. When Belinda Van Krevel was 18, her brother Mark committed 2 incredibly violent murders. Mark claimed both his male victims had made sexual advances to him. He said it sparked memories of his father's abuse, and that triggered an extraordinary rage.
What do you recall doing, if anything, at the time that you found out about not only the murders, but that Mark was responsible for them and that they were so brutal? What kinds of things do you recall thinking?
Why did it have to be my brother? He's such a beautiful person. How can your own father do so much damage to their children for Mark to be able to go that far? When I found out about what he did, I understood 100% at what he had done. I understood every reason why, and that was because of what I had seen while we'd grown up.
After 2 murders, Mark surrendered to police. In court, he blamed his father's abuse for his crimes. But the judge found the murders so violent, he could show no leniency.
Mark, your beloved brother, is convicted and sentenced to spend the rest of his life in prison. Must have been overwhelming. What was it like for you, realizing that?
So unfair.
Unfair.
He didn't need to go to prison, he needed help, he'd been hurt. My father should have been in jail, not my brother. He caused what had happened. So why should my brother go to jail and suffer?
I think Belinda is suffering from a kind of survivor guilt. Mentally, she is much stronger than her brother Mark, and her guilt may stem from the belief that she should have dealt with her father.
When did you start thinking that your father needed to die? Seriously thinking about it.
When my brother got where he got. I had thoughts about that before that, of killing him, but I couldn't do it because I had Tia. If I didn't have Tia, I would have done it.
A childhood of abuse at the hands of her father stoked an incredible fury in Belinda Van Krevel and her brother Mark. After losing Mark to prison, a 20-year-old Belinda was angry. Then she believed her father was abusing her 2-year-old daughter, Tia. She turned to Mark's best friend, Keith Schreiber.
I told him, I can't kill him. He needs to be killed, I can't kill him.
Did you ask Keith to kill your father?
Actually, how it happened was, he said to me, when I told him about how Tia had been molested by my father, he turned around and he said to me, right, that's it. He has to go. And I said, yes.
Okay.
And he did it.
Late at night, Keith Schreiber crept into the Van Krevel house. Belinda and her daughter Tia were in one room. Jack Van Krevel was asleep in another.
Now, when it did happen, I will never forget it. I've never been so frightened in my life.
Let's talk about that night.
Oh, geez, I thought that my father got the better of him. I thought that whatever it was, I wasn't sure whether Keith had done what he said he was gonna, like the comments he'd made, or whether there was an intruder. I'm in bed with my daughter, and when I heard the noises, I went stiff, my whole body from head to toe. I just, cold, stiff. I thought that my father was killing someone.
Because of the noises that you heard coming out of his bedroom?
Yeah, and then I thought because once he got angry, he's gonna kill that persons, now he's gonna come in, and Tia and I are dead. Without a doubt, we're dead. I was waiting for my father to come in and kill me and Tia and I. He didn't.
The door opened, didn't it?
Yes, it did.
It was almost as if somebody maybe was coming in to see if you were okay, saw that you were there in bed, and backed out.
Yeah.
And what did you do?
I stayed in bed for quite a while. Or I can estimate half an hour or something. Grabbed my daughter, opened the door, I saw blood. And I just went straight out, jumped into my car.
Did you go check on your father?
No.
Okay.
No. I in the hallway out the front of my bedroom, I saw blood. I wanted to get the hell out of there. I got out of there. That's what I did.
Jack Van Krevel did not die easily. Hit with an axe, beaten with a fire poker, then carved with a knife. That says one thing to a profiler: hate. This killing was personal. The day after Jack Van Krevel's murder, Keith Schreiber confessed to police, saying he did it to avenge Mark, Belinda, and her daughter Tia. Keith was a victim of abuse himself. The judge said he was in a disturbed mental state and sentenced him to 16 years in prison.
Why do you think Keith killed your father?
Because he probably thought that I was going to do it and lose Tia, and also to impress Mark, to prove I'm a big man too, you know.
What did the police think about your relationship with Keith?
They thought that we were a lot closer than what we were. They, at one stage, found some receipts that I'd sent to Keith and thought that I was paying him off for the murder.
What kind of receipts were they?
They were just money order receipts for $50, $100, $200 here or there. And they said to me straight out, why would you send your father's killer money? I said, well, why wouldn't I? Why not? Why wouldn't I? I don't care that my father's dead. Was he a father? No, he wasn't. I'm brutally honest. I'm not going to sit here and lie and say I'm sending him money for absolutely no reason. I'm sending him money because I want to.
Belinda is careful here not to admit actually paying for her father's death, but she did plead guilty to the lesser charge of soliciting his murder. That earned her a 6-year prison sentence.
Yes, I pleaded guilty to the solicit of my father, and I definitely have no shame in pleading guilty to that. I did ask someone to kill my father. I did the time for that. And I did that because I had a daughter and I did not want to go to jail. If I did not have my daughter, I would have done it myself. I don't care if I would have been locked up for life. The damage he'd caused, I wanted him gone. It was either kill or be killed.
How responsible are you for your father's murder?
I'm glad he's dead. I'm protected, Tia's protected, other little boys are protected. However, Mark's still suffering. That's one thing I can't live with.
Safe to say you do not regret what happened?
Oh, no, not at all.
Safe to say you do not miss your father?
I do not miss my father. If I said that I did, I'd be lying, and I'm brutally honest. I do not miss my father, and I do not regret what happened to him at all. And he deserved it.
Belinda's glee at her father's death is certainly shocking. But if Belinda ever did love her father, she can't even remember it.
How about your life since your father died, including the 6 years you did in prison?
Yeah, 6 years.
It's still better or worse since
Oh, better. Life couldn't be better without my father. Oh.
Even in prison?
Oh.
Even when you were in prison?
Oh, yeah. Without a doubt. Without a doubt.
So the question is, you're out now. Is society safe with you out?
Yes.
And how so?
I'm not a habitual criminal. The problem's gone.
The problem's gone, and you're not the problem.
No, Jack was a problem, and he's gone.
What is the most important thing for your daughter, Tia, who I can see is the most important thing in your life and probably always will be?
Yep.
What is the
Her and Mark.
What is the most important thing for Tia to know about her mom?
That she is safe for the rest of her life and that she'll never be loved as much as I love her to death. I love her more than anything else on this earth, and she knows that.
And she's safe.
Very safe.
Today, Belinda has no contact with her father's killer, Keith Schreiber. She still visits her brother Mark in prison every 2 weeks. I found Belinda to be very believable.
Her defense mechanisms are, to say the least, robust. They help her deal with the horror of her childhood and the subsequent aftermath of her father's murder. It was in her nature to fight the monster, to slay the dragon, metaphorically, before it killed her. Belinda became a fighter. And Belinda will be a fighter the rest of her life.
Is society safe from Belinda Van Krevel? Right now, I think it is.